Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Laura Byrne with Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine. We are here at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, joined by our Sheriff, Chad Chronister. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And before we get into some of the details about, because obviously we're here for Crime Prevention Month,
Yes.
You wrote an article for us on our October issue, but talking about your service and your time here in our community. You've been here for quite a long time. You've been serving at the Sheriff's Office for
February
quite a
will
long time.
be, I'll start my 28th year, so very excited. I love it just as much today as I did 27 years ago. A tremendous career, and love the community that we serve, and we're fortunate here. Unlike some areas around the country, they love their sheriff's office, they love their sheriff, and we love serving our community.
And I'll tell you, just the way you kind of tackle crime too has probably evolved and changed with technology over the years, which we'll also get into.
It absolutely has. Since I started 27 short years, it's changed dramatically. Drastically.
It's like Monday. We're all at the case. I need extra coffee this morning, right? It's so true. And obviously tomorrow is Halloween. It's a big day for a lot of kids in our community. And I know you guys and your deputies are out there trying to keep kids safe. And what is it that you want parents to know as they're getting their little ghosts and goblins ready to go out trick-or-treating?
And it is. We all can sit here right now and think of those fond memories, out, trick-or-treating, is the highlight of the year. Mm-hmm. Us as parents, us as law enforcement, we have to make sure that it's the safest night of the year. We started back at the beginning of October making contact with every sexual predator and offender, making sure they're reminded that they're not to participate in any Halloween activities. They're not allowed to do anything that would even be perceived as enticing a child to be involved in Halloween. Shut the light off, and there's no engagement with any type of child, attending any type of party. And we will certainly be back out Halloween night to check on every single one. I'm actually going to be out there myself, and if we find someone that's acting differently or inappropriately, then they're going to go to jail as an immediate violation. And there's no, hey, you were warned, and that's why we start so early. We want them to know, and I think that's the most important part, is making sure that we're keeping the kids safe. And in that regard, then you move into the costume and the safety aspects of it.
And I know just for drivers on the road too, if you're out driving, maybe it's just a better idea not to, because kids are distracted, they're running around, they're darting between houses.
Kids have one thing on their mind. Yeah. How much candy can they fit in that bag? That's all they care about. And that's why, again, we as the adults have to make sure that they're doing it safely. As drivers, absolutely. Be on the lookout, because there's going to be kids darting through cars. We know, and throughout the neighborhoods. We get that. We understand that. As parents, we can help mitigate that. I know the kids may gripe a little bit, but put some reflective tape on their costume. Make sure their costume fits. I didn't know this, but did you know it's one of the busiest nights in the emergency room? And it's not because they're getting hit by cars. It's because they trip and fall. Their costumes don't fit appropriately. They love it. They have this great costume, but they can't see. They don't have peripheral vision to cross the street, or they trip and fall and they hurt themselves. We can certainly help out with that. So give them some reflective tape, give them a flashlight, and again, as a parent, keep an eye on that child. Make sure you know where they're at all times. Then it comes down to candy. Yeah. Make sure we stick to brand name manufactured candy. If the candy's suspicious, there's a lot out there, throw it away and take another piece.
And then keep a stash for yourself too as a parent.
Absolutely. Hey, let me tell you something. I'm already skeptical to begin with, but I used to bring my son's candy home, and he'd bring it home, and then Nikki and I, my wife, we would throw that candy away and give him some other candy, and he would never know. We'd have the same bag with candy that we bought and switch it out. Now, I'm not suggesting that.
No, I know, but you just never know nowadays. I mean, it is crazy out there, and that's really great advice for sure. And that's a good tip though, with keeping kids with the mask and making sure that they
have to be able to see.
Yeah.
It can be as cool. I get that. You want the coolest mask. I get that. But we have to make sure that we keep them safe, that they can actually function in whatever costume it is, walking, vision, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, my 5-year-old wants to be Spider-Man, so I don't know about that. That's maybe not a good idea.
Well, at least the weather should be cool.
Yes, true.
Growing up north, we never had to worry about it. You could wear whatever you want. But down here it's hot. Most of the time they're going to take the hood off anyway, because it's too warm. It's too hot.
I know, I'm telling you. But hey, you got to love the Florida weather.
Yes.
At least we don't have to deal with snow in the wintertime, right?
That is true.
That's a whole other set of problems.
That is another obstacle.
Yeah, I know. So another thing, since we're talking about kids and on the topic of that, school bus safety. Now, I know that you guys said just this year alone, a number of school buses or people just, when the school bus is stopped, are still driving right by. They're not obeying the traffic laws.
Too many people, too many kids still getting hit by cars. They're crossing the walkways appropriately, and either drivers aren't paying attention or they're in such a hurry that they're going around school buses. The school year has started. We're well into the school year. We all know that it's going to take that extra little bit of time to get to school. Put the phone down, take your foot off the accelerator a little bit, and make sure you take your time and plan accordingly going. You know, the tickets are way too expensive. They will financially cripple somebody. But I encourage our deputies to write them when it's applicable, because if they save a child's life or save a child from being hurt, issue the citation to correct that behavior so that person's not doing it again, because most of the time we have to remember they're traveling the same route again tomorrow. They're headed to work or they're headed home from work. So they're going to be back at the same. It's not like, hey, I'm going somewhere else. They're going the same route. So if they got away with it today, you know, they think, oh, I can do it again tomorrow, and that's when they're going to hit a child. You know, we've had 3 children hit in the last 2 weeks. And it's just, it's preventable.
And just, you know, speaking of traffic safety too, you know, just even with kids, when your parents, when you have your kids in the car, just making sure that your car seats are properly installed. We know that so many don't have their seats installed, and, you know, we've done a number of stories about that. And don't speed, right? Don't. Like, obey all the traffic laws. Stop at the stoplight, stop at the stop signs, because I'm sure you guys see a lot of that.
You would think in 2018 that we as a safer community, we all put our seatbelts on. But for some reason, we still have some portions of our community, people in our community, that don't properly secure their child. That's important. You know, we spend the money to get a car seat, and if you need one, come to one of the district sheriff's offices. We work well with some grants, and we'll get that child a car seat. Please, I get it. It may be a financial constraint. They're expensive. We will get you a car seat, but I implore everybody, put that child in a car seat so that, you know, they can't protect themselves. We have to do it. They depend on us to keep them safe.
Absolutely. And, you know, and one thing as a parent nowadays, you know, we talked about technology and evolving over the years, even since you first came on at the sheriff's office, but with cyber security, cyber bullying, and with our kids, I mean, I know as a parent too for yourself, but how can we as parents, because that's one issue I'm sure that comes up a lot, how do we better protect our kids when it comes to being online or on social media?
You're exactly right. There's so many advantages that come along with this technological era that we're experiencing. You know, there's a lot of good things that come out of our kids having access to the internet, but there's some risks that come along with that. One is cyberbullying. You know, we as parents have to talk to our children and explain to them the dangers or the consequences of releasing sensitive information, if it's a photograph, whatever it may be, because we know that kids are going to take it and send it out, and our school resource deputies deal with it every day, where, you know, I sent a photo to somebody, I sent an inappropriate text to somebody, and now the whole school has it, the whole grade has it, and it's being used against me. And kids, it could be detrimental. I don't think when it comes to the internet that we can be too overprotective as a parent. We have to know who our children are talking to and what sites that they're visiting, because they could be talking to someone who's luring them down a road that we don't want them to go down, and they're doing it because they're completely innocent. And again, we as parents have to make sure we know. I will never get upset if my 15-year-old son gets mad at his mom because she monitors everything. There's a lot of applications out there, a lot of apps out there now that allow you to see and mirror what your children have access to. This isn't a time to worry about being too overprotective, because there can never be such a case.
And, you know, even with, is cyberbullying something maybe your school resource deputy see the most often within the schools? Is that like the big issue?
They do.
Right now?
Cyberbullying is real.
Yeah.
You know, some of these kids can, they just lose they're not sensitive to the ramifications, because unlike us who we understand because we've experienced it, they don't know any different. You know, they send it out to the whole class, or again, the whole school, who sends it to their friends at another school. And as a young female, or even a young male, the pressures that come along with a photo of yourself, maybe that shouldn't quite went out, an inappropriate photo, or a text that someone takes out of context. So it's absolutely a real danger. It's a real issue. We have a zero tolerance, because we won't allow it to affect a child's life. But when you have someone who feels there's no other option than take their own life, than face the consequences of being ridiculed. You know, we as a community have to know that we have a zero tolerance, and we're not going to accept that type of behavior.
And if a parent is having a problem, should they call the sheriff's office? At what point do they call the sheriff's office to report a problem?
Absolutely, immediately, because a lot of times we can track it back to who's released it or who's going to release it, and we can stop it. If we can prevent one less person from getting that text, getting that photo, then maybe we have helped cause some ease to the pain. All right. Yes.
Yeah. Great tips there too. And we're talking about, another issue too that, we were kind of joking around earlier about, preventing crimes, but locking your car doors is such a common crime in this community. I myself, my car's been, I can't say broken into because we left it unlocked in our neighborhood about 4 times. And I'm sure this is something, especially with the holidays coming up, we just have to be vigilant, right?
Don't feel bad. If we had 10 people here, think about this. 3 out of 4 people leave their car doors unlocked. 3 out of 4 car burglaries are because people fail to lock their car doors. It almost becomes a crime of opportunity. We got to remember, criminals are lazy, or they'd go get a real job. So they take their sleeve down and they'll go try a bunch of cars. Well, when they know 3 out of 4 are going to be unlocked, and we leave some expensive item, some attractive item inside, they're going to grab that item and be gone. And as great as our investigators are solving crime, it's going to be tough to solve that crime that's happened in seconds with no type of evidence left behind. We have to do that. We as a community have to prevent that crime simply by locking your car doors. If you have something expensive like you were talking about, shopping's coming up. Christmas shopping's right around the corner. Don't leave those expensive items or those shopping bags in the area where you're doing nothing but inviting a criminal in to steal this item. Lock it in the trunk. Lock it where they're not going to want to steal something that they can't see. So easily something that can be prevented.
I love that you brought up the whole crime of opportunity point too. And I'm a former crime reporter. I was a former news reporter, and it seems like most crimes that we fall victim to was because it was a crime of opportunity. What other things can we do to take away that opportunity part of it?
When you're out shopping for Christmas shopping, which is, like I said, again, right around the corner, make sure you shop close to the door. If you can't park close to the door, make sure that you're shopping where it's well lit. Don't park somewhere where it's not well lit. You have to remember, again, criminals like to operate under the concealment of darkness. So while we're in trying to get those Christmas gifts, spending our hard-earned money, putting a smile on someone's face, they're seeing this again as let me go victimize somebody. Again, a crime of opportunity. So lock your car doors, lock those items in the trunk. Don't carry a ton of cash around with you. Don't leave money in the car. There's a lot of these little things that we can do to make sure that we don't become a victim.
And don't fight back if they do try to take your purse, or right?
Another great point. I don't think we'll ever change that. There's no material item that's ever worth the safety or the injury that it may cause you. Let it go. You can buy another one. So you're exactly right. If somebody wants to come up and they want it bad enough, let them take it. There's plenty of cameras around the mall. Let us try to recover that item and bring justice to that individual. That's why you pay your taxes, and that's why we have a great sheriff's office. We'll do our job. But with you getting hurt, that's something that we can't change.
Absolutely. Yeah, great tip. And just remember that, because I know some people do try to fight back, and like you said,
they do, and I get it. I worked hard. We work hard for our money, and now we're buying this special gift, and someone wants to come take that. Not on my watch.
Yep, not worth it. Yep. So one other thing, a lot of families, especially nowadays with the housing market the way it is, instead of buying a new house, why not build an addition, right? Or maybe get some extra work done inside the house. So you guys have been really cracking down on people who are not licensed contractors. So this has been a big issue in our county and really throughout the state of Florida.
And some people may be like, why are they talking about that? This doesn't have the appeal of some of the cases we investigate. Until you're the victim that's out that money, until you're a victim that's left with some shoddy workmanship that puts your family at risk, or the fact that they came back and did some of the work and take off. A lot of people watching this right now are thinking, I'm that person. When you walk in and you see some of the workmanship that's left behind, or the fact that you save up to do this addition, and now none of the work's been completed and your money's gone. an unlicensed contractor can wreak havoc on a family's life, and you can't. And they will come in. They're great. They're great illusionists. They'll come in and show you how they can save you money. They appeal to your sense of savings. Who doesn't want to save money? We all do. They appeal to the fact that they don't need permits and they can even get the work done quicker. Once again, that's all appealing. The fact is they're not going to do any of it, and the only common theme is they're going to take your money.
And like you said, we're seeing a lot of it. They're especially preying on elderly, but I mean, it's happening to everybody. Anybody can fall victim to this. So do we just go to the website and we check to make sure that they have the license? And
best advice is exactly that. Ask to see their contractor's license. Contractors have to go through an extensive background check, a credit check. They have all the rules and regulations that they have to follow. They went and received all their accreditation to make sure that they're properly trained and licensed. So absolutely use one of the websites. There's 2 websites that are available. Go to those websites and do your homework. That's your hard-earned money. Make sure you know who you're hiring into your home. The sting that we just did yesterday, we arrested 16 people, have charges on 6 additional people. One of them was a sexual predator. Wanted for the last 7 years, and he was a traveler or a gypsy. He bragged on tape how proud he was that he's been able to elude arrest for 7 years. He's done nothing but travel the country in different areas, scam, especially the elderly, who are more trusting than others.
Yeah.
Scam them out of their money, and he's gone. He's on to the next city before anyone can realize that a crime has occurred.
And it's good to know that you have a team working on this, because it's hard to find a contractor nowadays.
It's so important.
People
and
may fall victim.
You're
easily.
exactly right. And with the population boom that Central Florida is incurring right now, they see it as, once again, a crime of opportunity to be able to make a quick buck, and they appeal to people's better senses, sense of savings, sense of timeliness. We're a convenient society. We want the work done now. We make the decision. We want a car. We don't even want to wait for a week for the car to get in. We want to take the car home with us. We're an instant gratification society. When it comes to hiring a contractor, you have to take the time, do your homework, and make sure you know who's coming into your house, and that the work that's being completed is going to make sure that it's completed correctly and that your family's going to be safe.
And as we begin to wrap up here, just talking about obviously today with a lot of those shootings, what can we do to be more vigilant to, if God forbid something were to happen? I know you've trained your deputies, but what can we do as families, as parents? Do we, we say, see something, say something, right? What would you recommend that we just be on the lookout for? Just be vigilant?
The best question you've asked me today, and we've talked about some great topics, is if you see something, say something. We're all very smart. We're all in tune. We've all now have been raised in a culture where security matters. We didn't have to. When I grew up, I'm 50 years old. When I grew up, we had to be home by the time the street lights came home. That's different. I'm not happy about that, but whether it's airport security, whether it's school security, we've evolved, and we have to continue to evolve to make sure that we're all safe and safer as a community. So the best advice I can give anyone is exactly that. If you see something that's out of the ordinary, that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, follow your instinct and give the sheriff's office a call. And I've made this promise for several years now. I will never get upset that you call us and it's unfounded. That you thought someone was breaking into a house and it's grandma who was coming to visit, and the neighbors didn't know. Or you thought there was a car parked down at the end of the street and it turned out it was a newspaper person, a delivery person, and the car ran out of gas. We will never get upset. You'll never hear a deputy sheriff say, "Why did you call us?" They will say, "Thank you for calling us. We'd rather do that than have some tragic event and then the media come interview and say, well, I knew something was wrong."
Yeah.
We see it all the time. As a reporter, you've interviewed
yes,
plenty of times. They knew something was wrong and they
Yep.
didn't take the time. We have to take our blinders off as a society. If we see something that doesn't belong, if it doesn't affect us, we normally don't get involved. That has to change. If we see something, if we're at Tampa Stadium or we're at Amalie Arena, we're at church, something doesn't look right, let somebody know, pick up the phone and call.
And I know this is the same for our kids too, to tell the school resource officer or to tell the teacher. So having parents make sure you have that conversation with your children, that if they see something that's just not right at school, they should definitely report it. That's why you have the school resource officers there.
We've been extremely diligent to make sure that all our school resource deputies have been out educating all the school students to let them know. Matter of fact, we've made it as easy and convenient and anonymous as possible. We have tip 411. You know, kids know how to use the smartphone apps. They can click on that and send it. It doesn't even come back to them. Hey, we've solved a case already once. They got a gun removed from a school already in a short period of time. They went on, I looked in someone's bag, I saw a gun, I'm in classroom such and such, I'm at this school. We came in, went right to the student, boom, grabbed the student, grabbed the gun, and I don't know what that gun was going to be used for, but we know that it's not in the wrong hands now because it's been removed. And it was because somebody had a fortitude, some child had the fortitude to come forward and say, I'm going to speak up. And now with the state app that Attorney General Bondi has created, again, developed by kids to make it more interactive with children, once again, speak up. We have to break the mold and come out and have that strength saying, hey, listen, I'm going to tell somebody.
Awesome. So those are the big lessons here. Don't create a crime of opportunity. Lock your doors. Just keep your family safe. Be vigilant. And if you see something, say something. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I think this was super helpful. A lot of good tips, a lot of good advice. And you have a fantastic rest of your Crime Prevention Month, October. I know you guys are at it all the time, but thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank
you guys for taking the time. And hopefully this is pretty good and trying to think of the right word here.
Informative.
Informative, that's the word. And
informative to help prevent. And think about this. We serve the second most populous county in the state of Florida. Yet in terms of crime, we rank 10th. And I think it's because we work so well with our community. Our community supports their sheriff's office, and we work well out in the community, so they do feel more comfortable with the relationships to pick up the phone and call somebody. And let's keep it that way. There's a few things we can do that we talked about today, simple things, easy things, convenient things that we can do to make sure that we're not a victim of a crime.
Very good. And the article, by the way, is in our October issue that you contributed. So TampaBayParenting.com if you want to see the digital version. And we did just release our November issue too, but be sure to check it out. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Goodbye.